Welcome to Life Recovery Today with Stephen Arterburn. In the next half hour, you'll obtain insights and tools to transform your life using the biblical principles found in the 12-step program. We believe everyone can benefit from a life recovery experience because we all have struggles in life. Struggles with addictions, food, depression, anxiety, and relationships, to name a few. You'll be encouraged to see how others have found a new way of life with hope for the future through life recovery. Your host is Steve Arterburn, founder of New Life Ministries and Women of Faith, author of over 100 books, and teaching pastor at Northview Church in Carmel, Indiana, one of the 20 largest churches in America. Steve is the co-editor of the Life Recovery Bible, the #1 selling recovery Bible. With over 3 million copies sold, this is the Bible given to inmates by Prison Fellowship and the Pew Bible for the Salvation Army. Now here's Steve.
Hi there. Thanks for joining me for Life Recovery Today. I've got a great couple that we're going to be talking to, and really quite a recovery story. I think it'll be an inspiration to you. But before that, many of you know my good friend Dr. Dave Stoop died on March the 10th. The last book we ever wrote together is just out. It's called The Soul of a Hero. It's a book for men on being a hero rather than being someone that has to find a desperate person who has no other choice but to be saved. It's really about being a godly man. One of my favorite heroes isn't a man at all. It's a woman, and her name is Jael from the Old Testament. And Jael was, she and her husband were tinsmiths, and they made garden implements, and they also made different types of battle armor for the folks there and for the Israelites. Well, one day she was in her tent. She and her husband had separate tents for whatever reason. Anyway, one day she was in her tent, and this guy Sisera came in, all bloody from battle, and he was the Canaanite head of all the military, and they were after him. And he says to her, "Hide me, don't tell anybody I'm here, and I'm thirsty." Well, rather than give him water, she gives him some goat milk, and very quickly he falls asleep underneath the rug or blankets that she put there. And she very nicely went out and got a tent peg and a mallet and drove it through his head and killed him. That's our hero, doing whatever she could do in whatever situation she was in, and the result of him dying, 40 years of peace for the nation of Israel. Soul of a hero would help you, whether woman or man, to be the person God has called you to be, whatever situation that you're in. We'll take a break and we'll come right back with Mike and Linda.
Are you going through your struggles alone? Do you want someone to talk to help you through your pain? Do you feel like a failure when you relapse again, telling yourself, next time will be different? Don't walk this path alone anymore. Join a life recovery group today and be a person that your friends and family can be proud of. God created us to be in community, and we believe everyone can benefit from a life recovery experience. There are life recovery groups all over the country, and if there isn't one in your area, we can help you start one. Life Recovery brings recovery to you, right where you are. You'll take a journey with others to find healing and freedom. Whether you're looking to join a group or start one, New Life Ministries is here for you. Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE or visit liferecoverytoday.net.
Welcome back to Life Recovery Today. My special guests, Mike and Linda Ling. Welcome, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for being here. And thanks for being like the rest of us whose lives have been a mess and tried to pull the whole thing together. I think it gives great encouragement to everybody who thinks they're perfect to kind of be real. But you guys are a great recovery story. We'll get to that in a minute. But before we do, how did you meet?
Well, Steve, we met at a hockey game, actually. Mutual friend introduced us, and at that time, Linda was just going through a divorce, her very first marriage, and neither one of us were really hockey fans, but that's how we met.
That's what it took to get you together. Is A game of hockey. And how long ago was that you were meeting at that
would have been
hockey
about
game?
27 years ago.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
So, did you date very long, or?
We did. We dated for about a little over almost a year and a half before we ended up married.
That's good.
Yeah.
Way to go. All right. So you dated. Did you do any premarital counseling or anything like that?
Did we do
No.
a little bit? I don't think we did.
No?
we
Okay.
did not. We thought we knew it all.
All right. So, rocking along there, you got into a little bit of trouble. Tell us about when things started to go south. What was that all about? You want to start, Linda, about
Sure,
things
well-
going south?
Excellent idea.
Yeah.
Well, when we got into the marriage, I already had 2 children. So
Okay.
Mike, right off the bat, became a father of 2 children.
How old were they?
They were 5 and 2.
Okay.
Yeah,
How'd
so
that go?
It was interesting and tough, and just going along. We thought we communicated fairly well, and we were going to 2 different churches because we just had 2 different churches that we went to, and so went along through the high school and the teenage years of the kids, and that came with its own little trials.
Yeah. Did they accept you as dad or stepdad? Tension, ease? How did that go?
A little of everything.
Little everything?
Yeah, I think I wanted to think it was better than it was, and probably they did as well. I was much more of a rigid type of a parent than probably they wanted. And so while we were able to do a lot of fun things together and things of that nature, personally I think I had a harder time with the connections, and that really relayed back to my early days.
Yeah.
And so I had a harder time with that. Linda did a good job of trying to form that, or really have them be more proactive in that. She took some steps that probably I wouldn't have taken, or I was too shy or not forthcoming enough to do so.
Okay. And was their birth dad still involved with them?
He would get them on some visitation rights and stuff like that. So yeah, there was some connection there, mostly Easter and Christmas kind of thing.
Okay. All right. So not a lot.
Not a lot.
Sound
And then
like.
we had a daughter of our own. And then, so we're going along for 22 years, and then that's when it kind of blew up. And
Okay, so what happened when, because I think you discovered something wasn't right. And how
Right.
did you discover that?
so I literally woke up one morning to God saying, not audibly like, look, but I felt the words look.
Okay.
And
Now let me just stop you.
Sure.
Because this is really important.
Yes.
I cannot tell you how many stories I have heard of a woman, and it's always been the woman, I don't know, maybe God's not talking to us men, but a woman saying, God told me, or just like you said, I had this sensation, and it felt like it wasn't just a thought or something, but I think it was from God. Look.
Right.
Now the reason I wanted to stop there is I think it's really important, because some folks, you have that sensation, and what do? You shut it down. You don't act on it. But literally, God could be giving you a message. So
Right.
you had this sensation, you ought to look at something. And
I did. So I
yeah.
looked at phone records, which I never had any type of intuition to do that before. There was never any possibility that there was any infidelity or anything like that. And I found some phone messages and texts that were from the night before in the middle of the night. So
Night before, middle of the night.
yeah,
Oh,
so I know good things don't happen at
Yeah.
that time of the night. So that was the beginning of that was September of 2018.
what did you think?
Well, since my first marriage exploded due to an affair and I just had some trust issues, I was devastated.
Yeah.
And just thought, this can't be happening to me again.
So what did you do? What was the first thing?
So the first thing I did was nothing, basically, and waited till he came home. By the time he came home, I had already investigated as much as I could investigate and asked him, you know, if he had anything he wanted to share. And of course, you know, he denied it at first, but then we got to the initial bottom of what was kind of going on there. So.
And so what was it that was going on? What had she done covered?
I had texted and called, did some online searching for, it was prostitutes, massage parlors and things of that nature.
Ouch.
And there was probably, I don't know how many years, 4 to 5 years of that. And it was primarily with some traveling, primarily with, well, I was 99% of the time on my own, alone, and it was just me.
When she confronted you, you remember what you thought, felt, anything like that?
Numb.
Numb.
And just shamed. Disgusted with myself.
Yeah.
And
any relief thrown in there at all?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Yes and no.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that came a little bit later. But at that time, it was like, oh no, now what?
Yeah.
Because I had thought of that before. What if?
Yeah.
And just thinking through the ramifications of it.
Right.
And so I really hadn't thought that deep into it, though.
So, do you remember anything that started it? Any big event or little event, or just how you got off track?
I think it was a combination of a lot of different things. Some of the things Linda touched on with the kids. I think I had isolation issues as a child.
Yeah.
Some detachment issues, and I think they really just manifested themselves throughout the early part of our marriage. Taking things with the kids and some of the parenting styles and so forth that maybe I didn't agree with, that I just go along with, and
so you had some resentment,
anger became resentment. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Some bitterness.
Right.
Yeah. I think it was all building up.
Well, every time I've ever seen anybody get better, it's always part of that getting better has been resolving some anger and resentment. Got to go to a break. When we come back, we'll hear the other side of this, because it's really got a they're here together, so it's got an ending that I think we all can benefit from. You're listening to Life Recovery Today, or watching Life Recovery Today. We'll be right back.
It's hard to find a trusted friend when you're in crisis. Someone who's been there and understands, but who also has the training and skill to give you practical help. Family, friends, and churches want to help, but often they're not equipped to care for those dealing with problems like addiction and pornography, infidelity, anger, depression. New Life Ministries is here to provide help and hope in life's hardest places. We're not focused on making people feel better. We're focused on helping people do the work that will help them be better. At New Life, we have resources available to help you, like books, DVDs, CDs, workshops, and our network of licensed counselors. If you need help, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE and begin your new life today.
Welcome back to Life Recovery Today. Steve Arterburn here with Mike and Linda, who have very openly shared with us what's been going on. And there is another part of this story other than unfaithfulness and an affair. And so, Mike, you've been so open. Thank you for that. What did you do? We'll just cut to the chase. What did you do to get better so that here, 3 years later, you could be talking about this with your wife and not feel the shame and all? What'd you do?
I hit rock bottom and had nowhere else to go. I really turned, it was all about, they say, well, you got to pray your way out of it, right?
Yeah.
And of course, I did that. I did that piece of it, or started that piece back. And I always was in prayer, but a lot of scripture reading, some of your books. But I ultimately got involved in some groups. Men in Battle, Every Men's Battle.
Great.
Got involved at the area church here. And then, actually, before that, I was in a divorce care, which I ironically saw not a flyer, but something on the billboard about Every Man's Battle. That led me to it. But I was really looking for groups, people that I could talk to, relate to, commensurate with, just people to support me. That group really helped, the large group teachings, the small groups that I got in there, just connecting, being vulnerable, open and honest, going through a full therapeutic disclosure, polygraph.
Wow. Okay.
The whole gamut there.
So you hear this trite saying, actually it's a profound statement from literature, that no man is an island, but I think so many men are islands, but you can't be one if you're going to get better. Yeah. That's where you really have to stop being this isolated guy, and it sounds like that was a big part of your recovery. I'll get back to you for a second. Sure. So what did you do? How did you, you guys didn't stay married.
No, right. I, of course, panicked, and there was a point where I tried to get back together, trying to see, but just more details kept trickling out, and I just thought, I'm never going to be able to trust this person. And so we got a divorce in January of 2019, and then we were trying to sell our house, and we were in the same place at the same time. And I mean, no one goes into a marriage wanting to get a divorce. I knew I still loved him. I just didn't know how we'd get back there. And God was just like, I'm going to show you. Just let me show you. So I did a lot of work for myself. I got a therapist. I got a coach. I started going to a 12-step recovery program, and that was a Christian discipleship recovery program. And I found Women in the Battle ultimately, which was a lifesaver. And
it's called Restore now, but you did that.
Yes.
That's wonderful.
And then just really started working on my relationship with the Lord, putting him number one priority. Yeah. He was always a part of my life, but my life became the marriage, became making Mike happy, became to make the kids happy versus pleasing the Lord. So that's key. That's who my identity is in now.
Well, and that's the other thing that I hear is you take the focus off of the man, you put it on God, and then, because you can trust God 100%. Right. What do you think was one of the most important things in being able to forgive and accept him again?
Well, I felt as if I needed to know all the truth. I mean, I know you can still forgive without knowing all the truth. God already knows it all. But I felt in my heart that I couldn't get to a point of forgiving unless I knew everything. So that's where the full disclosure came in, and the polygraph with the therapist, and just really getting to the meat of why this all happened.
I think a lot of men don't fully tell everything, because they think, well, if she knows everything, she'll never forgive me. And yet, it's just such a milestone to be able to say, okay, I know it all. Yeah. And nothing else is going to have to come out.
Yes.
Now, I tell people all the time that you're entitled to every detail. And I hope you won't use that entitlement, because the details, you need to know the stuff, but you don't need to know the details. And I was, I was betrayed also, and every detail that I asked about was a painful thing that I wish I had. So, how long was it where you felt you could forgive? How long was it before you both decided something pretty radical? Get back together.
I saw him go to my church one day. He didn't know that I saw him. And God was just like, that's huge. I mean, we hadn't gone to church that much together, very infrequently. I thought, no, he's just doing it for me. He's not doing it for himself.
Right.
And so that was a little seed that was planted. And then, you know, obviously he started really getting into an active recovery, and I could see that. And he was willing to do whatever I asked to get better for ourselves. And that was key. That was really key. And so that was the beginning of being able to put some of that back together.
So you started dating again?
Yes. We started dating, and we started to go to church, and we started to serve together, and yes.
But because you were consistent, there was a future there. You were doing the work. What do you think? Because a lot of guys, they get found out, they feel horrible, and then they say, okay, yeah, I'm going to do everything. But they don't. They quit. What was it in you that kept you on the course?
Yeah, I learned early on, you know, about the boundaries, the things I really needed to put in place to keep me from being tempted to begin with. You know, I was traveling a lot in the past. I stopped traveling or limited it almost immediately, and then of course, COVID took care of that too.
Right.
You know, that piece of it helped out quite a bit. You know, some of the alcohol that I've been doing at that time as well eliminated that.
Yeah.
And just really being consistent in my groups, adding another group, another 12-step Christian discipleship program,
Awesome.
And then helping form another recovery group at our church.
And you said that you guys now minister together. What do you do together?
Okay, so you want to go?
Go ahead.
Okay, so we serve at our church in the kids program, and that's been ongoing since we got back together. And we started a recovery group at our church that God has just brought people to us that
Right.
it's grown like 50 plus people already
Really?
since September of last year.
Goodness, that's
And
incredible.
so we do a small little, not we, there's a few facilitators that help us with this, and one of the pastors help us, so we don't do it alone, but we do a teaching, then we break into small groups, and we listen and we share, and it's all Christ-centered, and so we do that. We both sponsor people in the 12 steps.
I tell you, in fact, I was on radio just saying this, that, you know, you can be involved in just the worst of stuff, be married to somebody that's involved in the worst of things, and you get help, and you can go from that to literally helping people transform their lives in a way that maybe they never ever thought possible.
Yes.
That's, to me, the coolest thing ever, that you guys really are working together to help other people.
Yes.
But it's not easy. I know that. It takes a lot of spiritual discipline to stay forgiving and to stay worthy of trust and forgiveness. And nobody does that alone.
No. Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thanks for sharing this story.
Yes.
I hope it's going to inspire some people. Get your act together. Not only just get your act together, but you know, maybe you could see this vision that God would have for you, that you literally could be changing the world for good rather than either enabling something crummy to happen or being involved with something that you never ever thought possible in your life. A big thanks to both of you for sharing this. If you want some help, you can call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. If you would like to start a group that might grow to 50 people in a year, you can call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Thanks for joining me. I'm going to take a minute break here and come back, give you some thoughts about recovery and restoration right after this. You're listening and watching Life Recovery Today.
Life recovery isn't just about making the courageous choice to give up an addiction or dependency. It's a journey towards health, wholeness, and becoming your very best you. If you need resources to help you in your journey, we can help. There are many life recovery resources that you can do on your own, with a group, or with your church. We have Bibles, workbooks, and devotionals that you can use to work your recovery right where you are. That's the beauty of Life Recovery. To learn more or to get the Life Recovery Bible or any other Life Recovery resource, visit liferecoverytoday.net or call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
Welcome back to Life Recovery Today. Well, time goes so fast. And at the break, I was talking with Mike and Linda, and one of the verses that meant so much to Mike was right out of John 5, where Jesus walks up to a man who's by a healing pool. It has a reputation for healing people. He's been there 38 years, and Jesus asks him that amazing question, do you want to get well? Now, if that had been me, I might have said, Jesus, look, I've been by this pool here, can't you see? And all. Well, you know, a lot of times we think we want to get well, but we don't. We want sympathy, or we're so used to doing the things that we've always done, we do that, or we don't think there is a life beyond whatever we're involved with. But I have to tell you, the same question that Jesus asked that man, I think Jesus is asking all of us. Do you want to get well? All of us have areas that we could literally put before the Lord, begin to pray about, ask God's help for, and I think that we could experience something totally different. Now, so often, what we want to do, pray harder, read the Bible more and all that, and then it just magically and wonderfully transforms us. But as you've heard here, it takes other people. We need other people in our lives. You can't do it alone. You know, when the Holy Spirit goes to work on somebody, it is the supernatural power of God at work. But in isolation, what is that going to do? I think in isolation, you probably many times don't even know what you're dealing with. But in relationship with others, where we're restoring, we're repairing, we get to feel and experience the supernatural power of God that brings us back together in ways that we didn't think possible, grows us up with character in ways that might even surprise our moms and dads. So whatever you're doing today, maybe it's time to just say to God, okay, here's an area I need to work on. Here's an area that needs recovery. Help me, Lord, find the resources that I need. And help me be willing to do what I think is the most healing, courageous thing that any person that loves to isolate could do. Join a group. It could be the beginning of good things. If you need some help or you want some guidance on starting a group, 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's our number. I'll see you next time on Life Recovery Today.
Thanks for joining us for Life Recovery Today with Stephen Arterburn. We hope this program has helped you integrate God's truth and wisdom into your recovery journey. This program is brought to you by New Life Ministries, and it's your support that keeps this program on the air. When you contact us for any reason, be sure to let us know that you watch on NRB. Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE or go to liferecoverytoday.net. Please join us again next week for more Life Recovery Today.